Welcome to the Opinion Planet podcast. We can now begin this episode. There we go. Now I got that. I have that now.
Hell
All
yeah.
I
right.
have the intro. Wow. Thank you for joining us, Miyamoto.
Yeah, no problem.
This is going to go into our first topic here. Is incels.
Incels.
We'll start off for those who don't know. An incel is a member of an online community of young men who consider themselves unable to attract women sexually, typically associated with the views that are hostile towards women and men who are sexually active.
I can relate to the incels.
How so?
There was a time in my life where I couldn't get any bitches, and it was the bitches' fault for it. I was doing everything right. You know, I had the good looks, I had the good personality, I had the good grades. I was funny. I was like really funny, but no one understood me, and how that made me feel. It made me feel spiteful. Like, why the fuck can't you see how valuable I am?
Are you done with the bit?
Yeah, you're kind of going off on one of those female podcast things that you see where they're like, "I don't understand. I cheated on him 6 times. Why is he mad at me?" Like that.
Yeah.
That's such an ick that he's mad at me for that.
He wouldn't pay attention to me, but I want him to have a full-time job.
Right. He wasn't giving me any attention because I wouldn't let him come home. So, I got railed out by the basketball team and now he's upset.
I don't know what his problem is, man. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Delusional people. It'd be good if we found someone like that.
Which I guess to tie into the topic, that is a big problem that I have. That is a big hostile thing. Like I have hostility towards a lot of women about. Is acting like that with like, having double standards.
Yeah.
Would you yourself call yourself an incel?
I mean, at this point, it'd be wrong not to.
Okay, I mean you're honest with yourself, I suppose.
I'm sure someone could find me attractive. I definitely don't go out of my way to try to make myself look attractive.
I think you're attractive.
I don't think you've ever even seen him.
I haven't.
He hasn't.
No. You just
He
like
hasn't. and
You sound
it's
attractive.
probably well, I don't know.
You sound like a man that fucks. All right, it's a good thing.
Well, at least I sound the part. Okay. So we'll go with this. Since you work with me, do you think that my views towards women are unfounded or are unfair?
I'm gonna see like there's some double standards. I feel like it goes both ways. You know, some things aren't fair on men's side of things, and other things aren't fair on the women's side of things. You in particular, I mean, you interact with women like they're normal, just like another fucking person. I feel like to truly like be in the rabbit hole is like you're just absolutely like
Refused.
I don't even want to interact with her.
I guess there's yeah. I mean, you were at the outing when she showed up, and I don't know if you were like physically in that spot when you heard the comment that I made, but essentially, it was like because she showed up overdressed, right, to this event. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
called her. I brought it up.
Yeah.
I brought it up, right, and then some of our coworkers were like, "Well, that wasn't nice," and I was like, "I don't give a fuck if she's here or not, anyways."
No, I noticed the same thing, and I do like when people are blunt. So, I mean, I feel like that's less about being an incel and just I
Yeah.
want people to just understand, this is how people think of you right now.
Yeah, it's a little pretentious to show up to a party like that, dressed like
Yeah.
you're about to. I don't even know. She was dressed for like a job interview, sort of.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right.
Everyone's just wearing normalized clothes.
I know.
But
Sorry.
That'd be something I'd do. Not like a job interview setting kind of outfit, but I would rather dress nicer than just regular clothes more often than not if I'm in a setting with a lot of people.
Maybe that's the difference between women. I guess most of the dudes that I know just don't really. They're like, well, I'm going out to hang out with a bunch of dudes, so I'm just gonna wear whatever. I don't need to impress anybody. I'm not saying that she. Well, actually, no. She was definitely trying to impress somebody dressed like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who, but somebody.
I mean, I like dressing better. I mean, okay, to be honest, my normal attire is like almost always going to be sweatpants, gray or black, because it's comfy and I don't care too much to dress nicer. But it is fun to just dress nice for the fun of it. I don't know, you feel good about yourself. Like if you walked into a cafe in like a full-on business suit, you had the tie and everything, I for sure would feel a slight sense of superiority over everyone
I
else.
guess yeah, it would make you feel more important.
Yeah, I don't know if like me wearing a suit at a cafe would be like, all right, I'm entitled to sex now. I want give me fucky
Okay.
fuck. But
here's the location though. It was just like a fucking. It's
Brewery.
like your
That's the word.
brewery. Yeah, that's what it
That's
was.
the word.
It was at
Yeah,
a fucking brewery. All right.
a brewery in an outdoor setting. And here's the funny part though is that it was the temperature outside was slightly colder than normal, and you could tell that she was like you could visibly see that she was uncomfortable because of how cold she was.
Yeah, everyone else was like dressing like like jackets and I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's at this point it's just a little too much to critique. Like it really doesn't matter that much in the end of the day, but like,
But it does.
but yeah, it can matter.
I mean, I can make it sound like it like why you got to do that? Why you got to show up acting like you're better than everybody else, knowing you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
think it's fair to
obviously,
critique and ask those questions.
obviously, I'm the main character here, so clearly you're trying to put me down by showing
Right.
up like that.
Did that make you feel small when she did that?
Definitely, yeah. So obviously, I had to bully her to make
Yep.
myself feel better
You had to
because
put
of my
her down
insecurities.
in
Right?
your
Yeah,
place.
I had to put her back in her place so that I could remain in mine.
how do you put a woman in her place?
Usually with the back of your hand, but it's dealer's choice.
Don't.
All right, fine, I won't try it. I
What
was
the
warming
fuck?
up.
uh,
I was warming it up.
We almost
no,
had a live abuse session here.
Not abuse.
uh,
It's doing the right
how
thing.
do you? No, I don't know. She's an interesting character because she claims to be really insightful in the thoughts of men's head and then proceeds to say the most ignorant bullshit in
Like if you're
regards to
gonna
men.
see the phrase that I always remember. I mean, I guess this might not be totally related, but why would I listen to a fish if I want to catch fish? I'm gonna listen to the fucking fisherman. I don't think the fish is gonna have any valuable insights into the behavior of other
Uh,
fish.
that is
So, are you that guy that watches those like catch women YouTube videos?
one of
It's
I
like
those.
this
did.
is how exactly they think. Approach them
I,
like this.
I've watched those videos. Yeah, they're good entertainment. All right, they're funny.
Do they work though? Have you tried them?
No, I tried the T-posing thing. That was self-made, and that worked. That that worked out pretty well for me. Just T-pose on a girl and repeatedly ask her out until she feels pressured to say yes, and then bam,
You can
three.
never underestimate the effectiveness of a good T pose.
Yeah,
And
three
also,
love.
never underestimate the effectiveness of persistence.
Yeah.
Given the
Molly, what was the
implication.
implication if you said no to when I asked you out?
I was about to say, given the implication.
Yeah,
Was
given
there
the
like
implication.
a looming undertone of an implication that something bad might happen to you if you didn't go out with me?
I mean,
Well, there was. Like I was throwing those vibes
was it
out there.
was it
You,
was it like you walked up and you were like, it would be in your best interest to say yes
I just be
because of the
standing
implication.
outside a store, and all of a sudden he's just walking up, T-posing at me.
all right, yeah, the threat of violence was there, so that's good at
Okay,
least.
so so you spawned in essentially.
Yeah,
So you just spawn there T posing. That's asserting dominance, is what it looks like. So you gotta,
I
you
mean,
gotta,
hey,
you gotta.
I T-pose back.
there we go. We were soulmates. We were
Okay,
meant to be.
so the challenge was met.
You guys just emoted to each other. That was about it. All right. Speaking of incel, you yourself being an incel, I mean, self said. What are your thoughts on interacting with others of your kind?
Actually, it's funny because right under the definition of incel here that I pulled up, it says self-identified incels have used the internet to find anonymous support, which I have not done in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So honestly, I think that the level of incel is on a spectrum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
No,
don't think it's you're either an incel or you're not. You know, I guess there's a spectrum because I haven't hit that level of depravity yet. So I mean, I could get there probably, but you
I
know,
could, yeah, I mean, I could see it being on a spectrum.
a
I
couple
feel like
more.
I'm somewhere on there. I wouldn't say
but
I'm like intently, but
but
You're a subconscious incel.
you know, it's like finding somebody that has the same interests or hobbies as you. You know, like anime, for instance. You're like, oh, you watch anime. What do you watch? You're like, oh, you know, you have hostile thoughts, views towards women and the way they act. Like, what are things that get you upset that they do? And then you learn things, you trade ideas. It's like bartering, sort of. Like I'll tell you what irritates me, and then you tell me what irritates you, so I have more stuff that irritates me. Definitely not problematic in any way, shape, or form.
Molly,
Yes.
are you an incel, but for men? You like hate men?
I would say I hate men. There's men out there I hate, but I wouldn't say I hate them because they're men. I'd hate them because of their personalities.
This is diamond in the fucking dozen. All right, you're not gonna find an opinion like that. A woman that holds that opinion. I don't know.
well,
It's
you
trade.
say majority hold the opinion of all men are garbage.
In my
Um,
anecdotal experience, yeah. It's just like a casual belief, like you know how there's casual racism. White people can't be racist, or white people are all white people are always racist. My bad. Let me rephrase that.
It's all right. I'm just gonna edit out your correction.
It's just, you know, it's like casual sexism, casual racism. They don't think it's that harmful.
Yeah.
All men are bad. Okay, yeah,
I
that's just
feel
how
like,
it is.
at least from what I've seen people saying online, it's not that they hate all men, they just are more worried about all men because they don't know what man will do something to them.
I
I
mean, yeah,
mean,
from the female
And they
perspective,
carry that negativity around and then
I'm
apply
more
it to most men.
I'm more concerned about a man physically attacking me or physically harming me than a woman ever could.
statistically speaking, if you're a man, you're more likely to just die in the streets by another man. If you're a woman, you're most likely going to die by a friend or a family member.
Yeah.
That's
Who
interesting.
happens to be a man.
It could be.
Yeah. From
It
what I've
probably
heard,
is more likely to be male.
it's from someone that they trust. So they don't know if they can trust.
Yeah, I'd watch for your back if
But
I were you, Molly.
Look,
see, I've never had a thought where it's like, should I be worried towards you or Jason ever? Like, I've never had that, like, should I be worried about this person?
well,
That's
now you
good.
should be.
Yeah, we got to change that now. We need the
Yeah.
undertone of danger to always
You
be
should
present.
see the things that he's capable of at work.
Yep. Fucking edging the grass.
He edges better than anybody that I work with, frankly.
Yep. Changing the oil. Fuck.
He's good at draining things and edging.
Yep. I would say so.
Why are you all right, Jason? This question specifically for you. Like, why are you talking about edging a lot more? This didn't used to be a facet of your personality, but now it's
It's around the office, so I just I just embrace it.
just rubs off on you.
Yeah, it does.
You know, edging and gooning are really popular right now, according to the Chinese spy app. Those are two of the most talked about things these days. Is edging and gooning, and what you can do to contribute to the
Contribute. I don't know how. It's like a solo experience. Like, how do you contribute to the overall gooning community? Do you just find
you goon, and then you talk about gooning, and you tell people why gooning is good, and that's you contributing to the gooning community.
I hate that word.
I hate that they use gooning of all words. So now you look at the movie Goonies, it's all ruined.
Yeah, it's just
Or goon. Talk to your you have your own goons under you.
yeah. That
It's all
was
gone. It's
I don't.
changed.
I definitely don't like when he calls everybody goons. He's like, "Hey,
Now it's definitely
go
weird when he
go
says that.
go get your goons to do this." And I'm like,
Yeah,
Dude,
you
it's
can't.
weird how the definition of a word can change so quickly.
for no reason at all.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have just as easily used any other word. They could have used fiddling.
Yeah, that would have been a fun one to say. I've been fiddling for 4 hours.
Yeah, that works. I can live with that.
That works, but it's got to be something more disturbing. I've been
Fiddler.
Diddler.
Looned. I'm looning. It's like a bird, you know?
I guess. I don't know. I think of fiddling, and obviously, I think of the two things that come to mind when you say fiddle: the actual instrument, a fiddle, and somebody using it, or somebody just fucking with stuff,
It's, yeah, fiddling with things.
just at random. Like I'm fiddling with an eyepiece to some night vision device thing right now.
Nice.
I'm just fiddling with that. But
But
see,
you would rather be fiddling with your dick right now.
no, it'd be a little weird.
You never edged while talking to people?
I'm gonna say no.
You're missing out. It's kind of
That's
fun.
that. Nope. That's a, well. See, because it wasn't edging, because I didn't stop, so that doesn't really count.
The
You
fun bit.
edge for a little bit.
I don't think it counts as edging unless you've like actually reached the point where it's considered edging and then continue to edge.
But at
The
that
second
point,
that you bust, it was never edging before that. It was just you.
but at that point, then it's just like
Stop of edging.
what you edge, and then like 3 hours later, you decide to bust, right? Like you take a break for like 3 hours. Were you truly edging those 3 hours ago then?
You were edging 3 hours ago, and then you started.
So when you start a new interval of jerking is when edging or your masturbation session has begun again.
It also depends on what kind of mindset you're going into it with. If
Yeah,
you
but
go into it with the intent to bust, then it's not edging.
what if you
Yeah.
go into it the intent to bust, but you just can't get it?
Unintentional edging?
Yeah. You still edged, but it wasn't intentional. You still lacked the discipline required.
Yeah, that's true.
Because given the chance to bust, you would have.
Do you think edging would help you guys in your profession? Does it like make you more alert?
Edging actually has been proved to increase testosterone, which in our line of work I do think could help to a certain degree, but could also make you more aggressive if you do have too much of it. So
I don't see how even if I increase my own testosterone, if that would help me in my current work environment. So
I mean,
I don't think so.
you could have better physical fitness scores as a result, but that would have to be some really precise edging.
Very scientific about it, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really measured, really calculated to be able to get the most out of that.
That's good. So like we take the human element out of it. Like instead of having the person edge, we create a device that does it, and like it has to be set at the same speed every time. It's very scientific, very methodical.
And like it senses your brainwaves when you're about to nut too.
Yeah, it's like Elon Musk Neuralink type shit, but it's just for that.
Would you get that device just for edging?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think about how many people would have to fail edging for that device to work though, because there's gonna have to be a control, and then you would have to fail a couple times for it to like program itself to you, because I feel like you couldn't just hook it up and immediately edge right the first time.
It'd be some sort of AI. It'd be instruction booklet, like you have to nut 3 times with this machine.
It's like a little trial and error.
Yeah, but the whole thing is it requires a brain implant. Would you get a government brain implant so you can get the edging machine?
Isn't that what the COVID-19 shot was for?
Yeah, it was to prep you guys for the implant.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it rotted away a hole in the brain so that they could put the implant there without having to do as much invasive surgery.
yeah, the shot that I got inside my arm
Your
went
arm
all the way up.
rotted your brain. Yes, yeah,
Yep.
really. Well, because the shot had like nanites in it that
Oh,
specifically
okay.
Yeah,
targeted a spot of your brain, right? So that's why everybody in our line of work is pretty much terminally dumb.
Fuck. Would you
yeah.
say that we're doomed as a species?
To be to be completely realistic, yes, definitely, because we're having a conversation about edging.
Yeah, it's true. I think we should.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't think that this is what the forefathers intended, but this
Imagine,
is what they have now. So
yeah.
imagine a fucking conversation with someone from 300 years ago, just how fucking radically different. Because I feel like a person from the 1700s could chat with someone from the 1400s. I mean,
I
yeah, there's
mean,
gonna be like differences, but it's still, kind of like the same
it's
human
still the same
template.
language, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that they would still be able to pick up on social cues.
But nowadays, we're too fucking inundated with our own personal meanings to our own vocabulary and
I feel
vernacular.
like if we like enlighten them and like, all right, this is what this means, they're like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
What
I
the
feel like it
fuck?
wouldn't be
Those
too
words?
different of a conversation from a normal person.
They're definitely gonna have like a 3 month like prep course before they can just get dumped onto society, or they would
Yeah.
probably blow their own brains out.
I don't think George Washington ever thought about the idea of edging. Maybe I'm just not thinking enough.
I
Maybe
I don't know, as long as sexual intercourse has been around, I'm sure that kinks have followed it, edging being one of them.
As soon as masturbation has been a thing, probably.
Yeah.
So that I mean, they definitely would understand the concept. I think everyone is just the same throughout time. All right. Eventually, like once they understand the words, it'll just be like talking to anyone nowadays.
But it also depends on what the societal norms were at that time. Was it socially acceptable to tell people that you were edging?
I mean, once they find out, I mean, what are they going to do if something wasn't like socially acceptable, and then all of a sudden somebody just started talking about it like so casually? Would you still would you still hold that, or would you just
At the
say
at the
fuck it?
time, no, they were probably ostracized because they were disgusting.
Yeah. But like
is the
if you came to the future and like somebody started talking to you about something you don't normally talk about, wouldn't you just start like fuck it? You know,
Well,
everyone's
yeah,
talking
you
about
would have
this.
to adapt because you're an anomaly at that point. If you
Yeah.
say that it's taboo to talk about it, then you're going to be viewed as a weird one.
Yeah.
You already know you're in a foreign spot, so you don't want to try to make it any worse on yourself. At least that's what I would do. You're going to have to
I mean,
conform to for your own self-preservation purposes.
humans conform. Unless it's the national anthem. But that's a different topic.
Or women's rights, or
Or
should women be allowed to vote? Um, only if they are on birth control, because the birth control starts to like regulate their emotions and hormones, thus making them more logical, kind of similar to.
only if they're also
Not how it works.
what?
we should treat it like the NFL playoffs. There should be a wild card like election. Like they'll be like, this is what like hormonal people, not just women, but like this is what the hormonal people voted on, and we're gonna throw that in there into the bracket and see who.
So that's interesting because that's kind of just like going into it like assuming that the male species, that's like the default mindset. That's what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, the women, they're the ones that differ from our mindset. So
Yeah, they have physically
therefore,
different bodies. All right,
yeah,
Eve
then
is just a copy of Adam. That's all it is.
so they need to change.
Well,
I think that idea of women needing to change first is a result is having such a male heavy presence in the leadership roles in society.
Yeah,
name
I would
one
say
good
so.
female CEO then.
What was that?
Name one successful or good female CEO.
Hmm.
Jeff Bezos' ex-wife.
I mean,
She's not a CEO. She's just rich.
off the top of my head, I can't do it, but let me.
There we go. Jason, can you name any
No,
successful
no,
female
obviously
CEO?
not.
Damn.
Currently, well, from 2014 to 2016, the CEO and chairwoman of General Motors was Mary
Fuck that
Barra.
bitch. Fuck that bitch. I saw an interview that she did with MNCBS, whatever the fuck, when the auto workers were going on strike, and
Oh, I
they were
remember that.
yeah, they were asking for like a 40% pay increase over the next couple of years because that's exactly what she, as the CEO, got. Her response to that, well, because the company worked hard and made a lot of profits, that means I did my job very well. That's why I'm deserving of these,
Yep.
salary increases. Fuck her. All right, she's a shitty CEO.
What do you think should be like your wake up call? Like when do you feel like you've gone too far into being an incel? Like when should you like, all right, maybe I'm a little too deep.
I think for me personally, would reach that point where I do actually like I don't interact with women at all, even in like a professional setting, because
Like you just kind
I've already given like a lecture on the subject
yeah.
of how I act. Like I call it the I don't live by the three holes, right? I live to do things that I want to do, and me personally, I don't put sex on such a high pedestal that my whole life revolves around it. I'd rather, do whatever I want to do right then and there. If it does end up being sex, then yeah, but I promise you, it's not as much as like
You're saying sex is overrated.
what's his name? I guess I shouldn't name drop him. Actually, it's pre-recorded. Fuck it. It's not as bad as you know, where like every day he's talking about you know women and women issues and shit.
Get a
You know,
fucking life. Do something else. Touch grass. That's-
Yeah,
it
or
it, it, it kind of works to the same effect, right? Like people tell me to go touch grass. I'm like, dude, when's the last time you've gone out and actually breathed fresh air for you?
Yeah.
yeah, just like gone for a walk. Went
You
outside to
know,
just enjoy
and,
it
and
for
it's
yourself.
different. It's different if you're in like an actual relationship because that's like a consensus thing. You're not doing that for yourself. If you truly care about the person, you're doing it for yourself and them.
Right.
More so for them than yourself. Whether you got into the relationship with selfish intentions of wanting to make yourself happy, if you truly care about that person, you'd stay in the relationship to make them happy.
Yeah.
That being said, you know, there's at what point is like what he's doing like too much? So there's like what's the opposite of being an incel? Is it like being a fuckboy?
Yeah,
Or
essentially.
like yeah, like how much of being a fuckboy is too much? Because there's too much. There's such thing as being too much of an incel, because then you end up being like a
I think the moment you start requiring, like, hey, I need you to send me a doctor's note saying that you're STD free, I think that's the threshold for being too much of a fuck boy.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. Because that is where you have to have like essentially like a log book and a
Yeah.
secretary to keep your books straight for how many conquests you've had.
Yeah, let me refer to the notebook. All right, it says as of 3 months ago you were clean. However, that was 3 months ago. I'm gonna need you to go to the doctor again and prove to me.
Because you are outside that 90-day window, I do need you to refresh your certificate.
No, my one of my coworkers, my trainer, he, since Valentine's Day isn't too far away, he always said that when he was, a couple of years ago before he was in a relationship, Valentine's Day was it was easy pickings for him. He'd get like 8 different girls hit him up on Valentine's Day supposedly. And he'd just, make 2 hour appointments with all of them. And that was his Valentine's Day. I don't know
Why?
because, the girls they want sex and he's the best fuck boy around.
So
That
do you
just
think
sounds
that
like
should be a wake up
just
call?
yeah. I think that should. I feel like that's just a lot of work. You
Yeah.
know, like, do you know what I'm going to be doing on Valentine's Day? The same shit that I've been doing to any other day, really. Like even when I think I made this comment in the office before. But like my first relationship, right? I was like, oh, well, it's Valentine's Day. It's a big day. Let me dump a bunch of money
Mhm.
on her, make her happy. And then almost immediately, I was like, that was a fucking mistake. Half the shit got thrown away. Her dog humped the fuck out of the bear I bought her. So like, it doesn't like what is all that shit good for? Me personally, I'm of the mindset where buying people stuff for Valentine's Day it doesn't make much sense. I think making memories is important. Having those things, tangible things are good to a certain extent, or having like memorabilia is important to a certain
Yeah,
extent. But I think having actual like memories or something to hold on to that way is a lot more important.
yeah. I
So I'm not.
find
Yeah.
I like practical gifts. All right, those are. I like to think I'm decent at shopping for practical items, and they're just gonna be useful no matter what. Like the occasional, like a stuffed animal, a cutesy item, not really practical, but more like affectionate. Yeah, I mean, those are fine, but practicality items, those are easier to shop for and
Yeah,
usually have more longevity if it doesn't fucking break right away.
I just think this is gonna sound really incel of me, but I think Valentine's Day is just like a money pit scheme that's been drawn up and overhyped over the years.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I used to say the same thing, and then I got a relationship, and now Valentine's Day is a good day for me. I
I
like
feel
it.
like even if I
I'm
wasn't
not,
in a relationship,
yeah,
I'd agree with that though.
I'm not saying it's not a good day. Like
Yeah.
it's a great day. It's just like I feel like people take it too seriously and then they feel pressured to make decisions like that coworker for instance is like, oh, I need to fuck these people, or I need to go out and look for somebody to fuck, or I need to get a girlfriend, or oh, I gotta have a boyfriend,
Yeah.
something
It's,
like that, because you see shit on
Yeah.
on like social media about people. They're like, oh, I need a date for Valentine's Day. No, the fuck you don't. You can grab your friends and go out and go do shit, and
Right.
it
It's
could be
kind of the same
completely
as
platonic. Like it doesn't need to.
it's
That's
like
all.
kind of the same as finding like people who take finding a New Year's kiss too seriously.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, let me sexually assault this person because I need
Yeah.
a New Year's
I
kiss.
have to. I have to.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
Then the court will completely understand. Like, buddy,
Like,
no, they
Your
won't.
Honor, it was New Year's.
And they're like, oh, on God. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
on God.
not
it's
your
like,
fault.
yes.
You know,
It's like he
my
raped a chicken in the back of the
my
shed.
my bad, my bad.
Like, oh, Your Honor, it was New Year's.
Yeah,
He had to have intercourse with that chicken.
that's like I drank a fifth of whiskey and then slammed my car into a family of four. But
It
Your
was New
Honor, it
Year's.
was St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Like,
had to. I
and they're
had to
like,
It
go.
might.
they're like, oh, well, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
And then they're like, hold up, were you wearing green? And then you
You were like,
weren't.
and you
And
were like, well, I mean, my face was green because I was puking the whole time. And then he's like, close enough.
yep.
You
He
know,
was like, all right,
Let it slide.
you'll have to clean your house for a day.
yeah. It just,
St. Patty Day is going to be. I enjoy St. Patty's Day more than Valentine's Day, just because I
I,
like the color scheme
well,
more.
that's another one of those days. It's like people are like, oh, I need to go out and get fucked up. I'm like, you don't. You can still drink in
Yeah.
moderation.
Pointless holiday.
It's not a pointless holiday, you bitch. All right, my people, we suffered. Now
That's
this is
how
trouble.
that right there is how you put a woman back in her place. By the way,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Raise your voice
Raise your
and
voice, call
add
her,
slurs.
cuss at her, slur. Those are the things. If you were to answer your question from earlier, that's how you would do that. Obviously, belittle them.